Welcome to the Ask a Tech at Vern, Eide, Acura. This is our first round. My name is TJ McVeigh. I am a Master Tech here at Vern, Eide, Acura.
Preston Vandenbosch, Service Advisor here at Vern, Eide, Acura.
This is our first time, so feel free to ask questions while we do this. We can see all your questions. Just give us a shout out. We'll wait for a couple minutes here or so for some questions. Preston, how long have you been a service advisor?
It'll be 4 years in June.
I've been a tech for 6 years. Before that, I was in tech school, graduated that. So, I see we have our first question. Question is springtime's coming, thinking about going on a road trip. What kind of things should we do to our cars, check over to make sure the trip goes as planned and no issues? Preston, you want to start?
One of the common things we actually do get asked is, the good winter inspection. Well, same thing kind of goes for springtime. So if you've been, let's say, neglecting your vehicle over winter, it never hurts to get a good multi-point inspection here, which we do complimentary. So we'll check over fluid levels, tire condition, wipers, something that might get overlooked. Springtime, very rainy. Going into spring, kind of stay ahead of things, AC, just so it's not, middle of summer and AC is not working well at all.
Yep.
Gets to be a busy time of year for us, so maybe checking it in advance, do a little preventative maintenance. Anything you'd see as a tech you would recommend?
Part of the complimentary inspection we do, definitely check tire pressures. It's a big thing. Check tread depth. With the rain in the spring, you don't want to have a hydroplaning issue. That gets real dangerous real fast. Wiper blades. That's a big thing. We want to make sure that if you do hit rain, that wiper blades are working. It's the really bad time to find out.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, if you come by and have us inspect the vehicle, just let us know that you're going on a trip, kind of how many miles, in case you need an oil change.
Yep. Beforehand,
and then let us know, and we can definitely take a look at the spare tire, make sure that's full. That's kind of a neglected item, especially on older models that have spare tires. It's so hidden away that no one really thinks about it until you need it.
Yep.
On cars that don't have spare tires, look at the compressor. Most of them will have a compressor with tire sealant. Make sure that's all good. That's all in working order. Anything else you can think of? I know one thing for me that I always kind of don't think about because on a daily, but is clean the inside of the windshield.
Oh yeah.
That haze really gets annoying after a couple hours, and that's a big one for me.
Yep.
What else we got? Questions. At what mileage should you get your first oil change on a new vehicle? That's a good question. Preston, you want to take care of that one?
We here at Vern, Eide, every 5,000 miles or once a year. Sometimes you get the elderly who, just go to church who, maybe have a couple thousand miles. We at least need to do it once a year.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what mileage it's done at, but we do recommend every 5,000 though.
Yep. Also, if you buy a new vehicle from Vern, Eide, tire rotation as well at that first 5,000. Yep. Or every 5,000 is also. Got another question. How often should I rotate my tires or inspect them for rotation? Like we said, 5,000 miles. Every 5,000 miles, you should have tires rotated. And then at the 15,000 mile service, we do rotate and balance as well. Every 15,000 miles, we do a balance.
Yep.
And what does that? Can you kind of walk us through how balance helps?
So we recommend it every 15,000. You do a rotate every 5,000. Really helps keep tread wear close. Otherwise, say you go 10,000 without rotating them, that tread wear gets drastically different. Recommend a balance, help avoid steering wheel shakes. Occasionally, you do lose a wheel weight here and there thanks to our wonderful potholes in the road.
Yeah.
Also, going into that for alignments, then alignments recommended every 15,000 goes a long way with tire wear.
Yep. Another question here: when you have cars in for service, do you check to make sure the headlights and brake lights work, especially those blinkers? Yeah, that is part of our complimentary service. We check headlights, brake lights, marker lights, even down to the license plate lights. That's a very important one.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that everything is safe and ready to go. Another question: why is it important to do scheduled maintenance?
Oof, that's a good one. A lot of it is like brake fluid, recommended every 3 years or every 30,000 miles. You'd be surprised how well your brakes can perform with a fresh brake fluid flush. Same with transmission fluid. If that one goes neglected too long, a lot of debris can build up inside there, affecting shifting in the transmission. Just helps things last a lot longer. There's a reason why Hondas and Acuras go as long as they do when you do the recommended maintenance.
Yep. Yeah. Those fresh fluids really really help to just make sure everything stays at its tip-top shape. Preston, what if this spring you're driving around and you hit a gnarly pothole? What should we do? Say it doesn't hurt, you don't blow out the tire, but you're kind of questioning, like, should I have something done? What?
Check balance on tires and check alignment.
Yep.
Like, without a doubt. While we're doing the alignment, you get a good inspection too. You'd be surprised how out of alignment a vehicle can get, even if you think it's driving great, but I hit a pothole every single day on every road. It's very crucial to stay on top of that too. Yep. Helps tire wear.
And those alignments, they really just help. They help keep tire wear within spec. Trying to get the most mileage out of your tires. Tires are expensive, and we're just trying to get the most life out of them.
Absolutely.
I got another question. If I own a Volkswagen, can you service it? Yeah, actually, we service all makes and models here at the Acura store, and we'd love to service your Volkswagen. On my last inspection, tech found a leaking CV boot. Sadly, it was not inspected at the VE Acura, so they didn't tell me what that even means. Do you want to go through that?
I'd like to hear it from a technician standpoint.
Okay. Leaking CV boot is part of the drive axle. So it's how the engine transmits power to the wheels. Depending on if you have front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, you could have as many as 2 to 4 axles that have CV boots. They have them on both sides of the axle, so the engine side and the wheel side. And those boots essentially just take up the movement. And they have grease inside to keep the bearings and all that in good working order. If it's leaking, it can cause the grease not only to leak out, but it can also let water and debris in, which will take out the bearings inside that CV joint and cause premature failure. So it's an important thing to have repaired soon. It's depending on how bad it is, but it's definitely one of the top thing because it's part of what drives your vehicle. So if you got any more questions, definitely put them up, and we will work on trying to answer them the best we can. We do work on all makes and models every day. I have a Nissan in my stall right now, in fact. There you go, Preston. Here's one for you. Is synthetic oil worth the extra money?
Well, conveniently for you, all of our bulk oil now is full synthetic. It used to be a semi-synthetic blend. Some companies have full synthetic that's good for longer mileage. I personally believe that it's, I'd say, worth the extra money, but now it's the same price as before, but we just have it readily available on hand. So also one of the benefits of coming here now. Also,
to kind of add on to that, most manufacturers now require synthetic oil just because service intervals have been extended. You know, back in the day it was 3,000 miles per oil change. Now we do 5. It's just keep making sure that that engine is performing like it should. Also, they don't have as much wear with synthetic oil, less pull on the motor, less friction, helps start in the winter better. So it's very important to use synthetic, and now that it really is common, you know, a lot of engines use it, the price actually has come down quite a bit, honestly. Another one, why should I go to Acura versus standard oil change shop? That's it?
I guess it kind of goes for all makes and models. We'll use the recommended fluid for that specific vehicle. So you come here, you're getting a Honda oil for your Honda or Acura. Certain GM vehicles that require Dexos, we do have that on hand. Or Mobile One. Everybody gets a complimentary multi-point inspection. You get a complimentary wash and vacuum.
That's a big thing right there.
Yep.
Go to your standard oil change place. You sit in your car while they do it. They don't wash it.
Nope.
They don't vacuum it. Not calling them out, just saying that's one reason to come to us,
yep.
Right?
I don't know how much a car wash costs nowadays, but it's a nice perk.
Yep, it is. And something to cross off your list that you were going to do anyway. You just got it done. Two birds and with one stone, essentially.
Right.
I say. Keep asking your questions. We're on here for another couple minutes. Another question. My son has a newer Durango. The oil sensor is bad. Does it really involve taking apart half the motor? Well,
that's for you now.
Depends, I guess, on the motor. I'm not familiar on a Durango. I'm guessing you're talking about oil pressure sensor. Let's see. I don't think those are that bad to get to. But we would love to do it. You know, bring it by. We'll re-inspect it, make sure that that is actually the part that needs to be replaced. I know Durangos have a couple other things to do with, like if it has an oil pressure code, that it might not be the sensor. It might be, if the motor is low on oil, it can cause an oil pressure, a false code or so. So definitely give us a call and we'll set up an appointment and get that looked at. Another one, does my RDX really need premium gas?
Were there RDXs that required
I think the turbo
the turbo
the
ones?
07 to 12s needed premium, but the new 13 to 18s, I think it's just it's recommended, but not necessary. You will see a little bit of an improvement in fuel mileage. Whether the price difference can outweigh it, you'll have to try to figure out based on your driving habits. You have to do a little math there and figure out if it really needs it.
Yep.
If it says it in the gas store that it's required, definitely run premium. If it says it recommended, figure out what your difference is on mileage and compare if the price difference makes sense.
I know we've seen TLs and MDXs where it's required that customers chose not to, that we've seen issues come up even at like a 30,000 mile.
Oh yeah.
I know for sure we've done 2 engines in TLs right around that 30,000 mile mark because they chose not to use premium. Switched to premium after we did a different engine in there and it magically fixes it.
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, if it is required, absolutely recommend it.
Anything I need to do to
like a summer inspection?
Yeah. Anything I need to do differently to summarize my vehicle compared to Winterize? I would say big one, AC. Obviously, we're not going to use, well, we hope we don't use heat in the winter. It is South Dakota. You never know. AC, have the AC inspection done. Make sure that's working great. So on those really hot days, you have AC. That's a big one, you know. Other than that, tires. When you're driving the hot roads, if you have low tread, tires get really hot, and if they don't have enough tread, they'll actually get too hot, and that's where you see blowouts and stuff like that. So the thicker the tread, they actually cool down as they are driving on the hot roads. Other than that, wipers. That's about the same for winter, but that's a big thing. Do you think of anything else, Preston?
Those are about the only things I would say were seasonal specific. Yep. Everything else is kind of the same type of inspection.
If my car says it can take E85, would you use it? Again, it's kind of personal preference and money. You kind of gotta test it. You gotta see what you get for mileage on E85, what you get for mileage on regular, unleaded, non-premium, and you really got to run a couple tanks to get a good average because it takes a little bit for the car to figure out, on the GMs especially, to figure out what kind of gas it has in it. Do a couple tanks of both, and then figure out price difference. What makes sense to you? You're going to use more gas with the 85. It's just how it works. The fuel mileage is going to go down, but if you can buy it cheaper, maybe. Maybe. There's nothing against it. We're in the Midwest. There's a lot of corn. My car has been due for a timing belt according to the manufacturer. How important is it for me to get done in a timely manner?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one to end on here. Yes, so timing belt, it's a belt. It's a rubber belt. A lot of them all of them are covered, so you never actually physically get to see, so it's never something you can inspect. So Acuras recommend every 6 years or 105,000. I think Hondas are every 6 years or 90,000. I think is where they're at. It's not often, but we have seen them where that belt cracks. That's the main belt that drives your engine. That one breaks, you're definitely sitting on the side of the road, spending a lot of money down the road. So if it has it recommended at a certain mileage or time interval, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. The big one is time too. You definitely know the miles, but the time aspect kind of gets into it too. It's still a rubber belt. It's not a forever thing. If you don't put that many miles on, they still age over time.
Yep.
The rubber still gets brittle. So it's important to follow not only the miles, but also in your case, or in some cases, the time aspect of it. Yes, on some cars, if they break, it's a motor. That's expensive. That's really expensive. So for the price, it's just another part of the maintenance, and it's good to do.
Yep. Spend $500 now, or spend $5,000. If it breaks.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
That way.
Well, cool. Thank you everybody for joining us on the live first ever Ask a Tech. We will be doing this next week, Friday, same time, same place. If you have any questions, you can either wait till next Friday, or you can shoot us a message or on Facebook or Instagram, Vern Eide Acura. I think it's actually VE Acura. We'll look there for those two, and just,